Merry Christmas and very warm welcome to StudyIQ, dear friends. I hope you all are doing good and enjoying your Christmas day, dear friends. Before moving ahead, I would like to remind you that today is the last date for up to 40% discount that is available on our pen drive and tablet courses. So if you haven't got it yet, I would recommend all of you to get it as soon as possible. With this, dear friends, the positive quote of the day is no ask, no get, no try, no win. This has been said by Robin Sharma. And seriously, this is right, isn't it? If we don't try, then we don't win. With this, dear friends, you have two editorials in today's Hindu which you can totally drop from your reading list, because this one is about a fodder jolt or fodder case that is going on against, or in fact the verdict that is out and against Lalu Prasad, and the quantum of punishment will be given on 3rd January. But the thing is, this one is more like a timeline of in which different cases he is involved, rather than what can be done to remove corruption from public life. So you can drop this one. This one is about cricket again, you can drop this one as well. But this one is about India and Pakistan. When it comes to India and Pakistan, from ages I haven't read anything like this one. It is very beautifully crafted article. Let's go through it. India and Pakistan are not just foreign countries to each other, because practically speaking, we used to share, you can say, same sort of culture, right? We were part of one big country, and at present we know since 1947 we are two different countries, and since then both the sides have tried their best, and we can also say we have been successful as well, though it is a very negative thing to drift apart when it comes to our culture. We used to have one culture, but now over that side in Pakistan as well, all the tries are done. They try whatever they can, and over here as well we are trying to implement all the tricks that we have got in the book to make sure that we are different from each other. So this is a thing that is going on for a very long period of time, and intellectual and emotional partition of the people of this country and the country of Pakistan has now taken place, and it would be very difficult for us, right, for both these countries. We don't know about the future. Maybe at present we can safely say that things are not going to be okay in next 6 months, but who knows after 10 years, or who knows after 15 years, if something can take place in both the countries, and people may decide to have a very good relationship with each other, leaving all the things and all the dark history behind. So this can happen, but if we are moving away from each other, if we are ignoring each other's culture or shared things, then this is going to be very difficult in future. And that's what this is something that is visible nowadays, and Indian and Pakistani societies have learned to look away from each other culturally. Now during this this process of this partition, which started in 50s, these poets and historians they started writing, say for example in Pakistan, invasion from northwest, this sort of things, you find this sort of things and incidents that took place at that point of time in your history book, in their history book I mean to say, and there is very much you can say less things are talked about the shared culture with East, that means with India or this part. The same thing applies in our books as well, right? We talk about, we have all this northwest invasion and things like that, but the proper culture and other things of this part of where the Pakistanis as present is bit ignored. The other thing is that we are losing this thing in terms of culture as well. And recently I heard, or you can say a very good line was used in a movie, that if both these countries, right, if they drop this animosity, then the money that is spent on defense and security can be used for the development of the people, for social welfare. And seriously, the money that is spent by both these countries are huge, right? If we for a couple of years, even if we stop this thing, then We can change lots and lots of things. But anyways, at present this is not going to take place, and Abida Parveen, Ghulam Ali are no longer able to perform in India. Then we have also banned Pakistani actors, and television network soaps and things like that are banned as well. Sports between both the countries, very few sports are taking place. Of course, we know the situation is Pakistan because of security and other things. We definitely, or no other country will be happy to go and play cricket in Pakistan. When it comes to India and Pakistan, of course, we know hockey is there, then there are other sports as well, but cricket is a thing that attracts huge amount of crowd, and we have this sort of arch rivalry between both these teams, isn't it? So these things are going down as well. Less and less we see very few matches taking place between both India and Pakistan. One thing that is going on at present is this pilgrimage, right? Both sides, we do issue visa for religious purposes, but when it comes to other things, then we don't find the same sort of treatment. Say for example, if someone from Pakistan or from India, just in terms of tourism, they want to visit here, then that is not something that is allowed. And this all things, right, this all things matter a lot, because you might have heard this thing or you might have read or might understand this thing, that if you want to develop a relationship with any country, your trade, your defense partnership, your other things, all these things are have no, you can say, they are not equal to what you can achieve from people to people contact. If the relationship between the people of one country with the other country, if they have a very good cordial relationship, then you can build on this, you can add value to this partnership, and you can take this relationship wherever you want. This is the core strength of any relationship between any two countries, of course. So this is something that is missing between India and Pakistan. The other thing is that because of this thing, we are making huge amount of loss as well. Applies both on India and Pakistan. We know a couple of weeks ago, when Afghanistan's president, when he was here, at that point of time, he clearly stated that if Pakistan is not going to allow us to use this route, right, land route, for trade with India, then Afghanistan will also not allow Pakistan to use its land for trading with Central Asian countries. We have developed this Chabahar port, and we are going to circumvent this Pakistan altogether using this sea route, and from here we are going to reach Afghanistan, and from Afghanistan we'll try to connect with different parts of Central Asia. In the same way, Pakistan is also ignoring its losses that it will incur, just in case if Afghanistan totally bars it from trading or using its land. So this is the thing, and we are, of course, spending double its trade costs, and we are spending billions of dollars extra in blocking out Pakistan. Then when we see this groups, these things are also talking about this big groups. But before that, let me take you through this ceasefire violations. In 2006, we used to have 12 ceasefire violations altogether from both sides. But now in 2016, you see 906 ceasefire violations and 51 people died. And the number keeps on going up and up. On terrorism, Pakistan has said that it is going to it is for justice. That's what has been said. So it has never accepted that the people who attacked Mumbai 2611 case, they were from Pakistan, right? So and the evidence that is provided by India is also ignored by Pakistan. So these are the things that are going on between India and Pakistan. Very important topic here, because you know that it is one of the most important neighbor of our country because of the relationship we share with Pakistan. Then a sad thing or a matter of worry for India is that Hafiz Saeed, right, he has declared that he is going to stand for election in 2018. Of course, there are many parties who have argued in Pakistan. They have argued to Election Commission that you should not allow this sort of group to to register itself as a political party, but we have to wait and watch. And God forbid if this sort of people are getting elected, then this is going to be very, very difficult and challenging for our country. The other one is a third party intervention is going up, and because we are not having a direct dialogue with Pakistan, or Pakistan is not having, you can say that, relation, or there is no communication bridge between these two countries, things are becoming global. All the problems that we have are becoming global. Things are going to United Nations and Financial Task Force, and you know, this Indus Water Treaty, you have World Bank and International Court of Justice and things like that. The other thing is that USA and China, right, they are penetrating deep inside both India and Pakistan or nearby area. And remember, these are bigger players. Once you allow them entry, then it would be, if not impossible, it would be very difficult for us to get rid of them from this area. When it comes to Afghanistan, same thing is taking place as well. We have groups, right? You have teams. One is USA, India and Afghanistan on one side, and on the other side you have Russia, China, Iran, Pakistan and Taliban. So these are the things. And when we talk about these groups, SAARC group, we know SAARC, since its inception, it has not delivered as per its potential. And the last SAARC meeting was totally, you can say, rejected by India and other countries. So this thing is in fact not helpful for the region. We know the reason why, because of Uri attack and things like that. But at the end of the day, it is not helping this whole region. Now we have these different groups. We have BIMSTEC, we have BBIN, we have IORA, but these groups cannot replace SAARC, because the thing is, if we allow SAARC to be in limbo, then China is already successful in tilting Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka and Maldives in its side, and disruption in, or you can say this sort of skirmishes in SAARC will eventually break down the unity that we have here in our country. So of course talks can take place. This is the need of the hour, bilateral talks. Even if bilateral talks we are not able to do that, what we can do is we can ignore bilateral talks, but we can do a little bit of business or a little bit of give and take, like in terms of environment, medical tourism and energy pipelines and electric grids and things like that. If we start doing this thing, then gradually we will develop relationship with each other, and you never know, one day we can have a good relationship, and that's what our aim should be. We don't want a troublesome neighborhood, isn't it? I'm not talking here about a philosophical thing. Practically, if you think, then we cannot change our neighborhood, right? You cannot say that I don't want Pakistan as my neighbor, I want USA as my neighbor. This is not possible, isn't it? So the best thing, practically, for the betterment of both sides, it is better to start. Of course we are going to have problems, but we should have like two different branches, one dealing only with disputes and the other one dealing or trying to develop as good relationship. And once this thing will become more important, or once this will become more heavier, then this will become a bit lighter, and eventually we can get rid of this thing as well. So that's how it is. That's how it can be done. This is about flawed in the name of indecency. This is about recent, on December 11, we know that government banned advertisements of condoms which could be indecent and inappropriate for viewing by children between 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. So for the whole day, starting from early morning till 10 p.m. Condom ads which are inappropriate are banned by government. Now there is nothing wrong with it, isn't it? There is nothing. This article is talking about that this sort of bans are, of course it is talking about giving us both positive and negatives, bit more negative I would say against this ban, like why this ban is not appropriate and things like that. But here we do analysis of things, isn't it? Because if we analyze things and if we understand clearly, if we see it from different angles, see, remember many a times the articles that are written by many authors, I'm not challenging their understanding, right? They have an in-depth understanding of the things they are talking about. But when we discuss things, when we debate, right, when we disagree, then we are not trying to win, and we are not trying to, in fact, it is not about winning and losing. It is about, at the end of the day, adding value to our understanding, right? If my view, say for example, if I am saying this and if you don't agree with that, and if you have something that can logically, not emotionally, right, logically, if you can prove, if you can logically argue that no, this is how it should be because of this, this and this, right, if you have logical reasons, then that's what democracy, or you can say that's what an academics or the field of knowledge is all about, isn't it? That's how it should be, because at the end of the day we learn from all the things that are around us. So here this article is talking about basically that when you ban indecent condom advertisements during this period of time, then what happens is that the parents will have more, you can say, you have empowered parents to decide what their children can and cannot watch, while ensuring that adults are also not deprived of the content which they are entitled to view. Right now, one thing that is important to understand, and this has been given in this article as well, that not all condom advertisements are banned, but only those that are indecent. So all those awareness advertisements or awareness campaign for the use or the benefits of condom, this sort of advertisements are allowed, right? Now the thing is, this article is talking about what do you understand by what is indecent and inappropriate, and what is sexually explicit, or the other words that we can use for this sort of advertisement. We all know what we are talking about here, right? We see many sorts of advertisements that are a bit difficult to share. It is difficult in terms of Indian culture to share the same screen when you have this sort of advertisements on your television right? The other thing is, this article is also arguing that it is giving some example of the Supreme Court of USA regarding pornography and hardcore porn and things like that. Like it also adds here that one man's vulgarity is another's lyric. It's fine. Even in India, right, the Supreme Court has said that pornography, if a person wants to enjoy pornography, then he or she can do it in their privacy, right? So you cannot argue that we need to watch pornography on television, and then you talk about that this is something right against my own rights. And no, this is not. We have to see it from our Indian value system as well, how things work or used to work or is working in our country, right? I'm sure you agree with this thing that it is difficult to share the same screen when you have this sort of advertisement on your television with your parents or with your younger ones or elder ones. The other thing is that if you are arguing about pornography and this sort of advertisement, then one thing is that we all know that pornography is a fake thing altogether, right? It is a fake thing, it is a business, and in fact it is a sort of racket in which you display or project women as a sexual object. So rather than arguing about this thing, we should be arguing or be worried about how we can get rid of this thing, how we can get rid of projecting women as a sexual object. And one thing, this is based on my experience, what I have understand is that it is giving a negative, it is creating a negative image for foreign countries, women as well, right? It is creating a wrong image that that foreign country women are free for this sort of pornography and things like that. So this is a very negative message that is coming out of pornography. And the other thing is that it is also arguing that pornography is freely available on the internet, but that does not mean that you allow your children to watch whatever they like. It's not that everyone is, every child, maybe 17-year-old or 16-year-old, are exposed to this sort of addiction. So of course it is good that these sort of things are not available on the television. And this regarding awareness, there are other methods as well, normal sort of television, the advertisement that we find on DD. So there are many other ways as well to spread awareness. Regarding other items that we have is hold on a second, just sec. Very quickly, I will take you through. Right. This article is about technology alone isn't the solution. This is about pollution and how we should approach pollution. We have talked about pollution quite a lot of times, so I will quickly take you through what's a bit different to what we have discussed so far. Some things are very common to understand, that what we are facing at present is something that is man-made, isn't it? Something that is created by us. We know it is coming out from construction, from our factories, right? All this pollution and greenhouse gases from our vehicles. And one thing that we have to understand is that it is coming. These are the tools from which it is coming. If you go down, or if you analyze this thing a little bit deeper, then we find that it is coming from our behavior, right? However we are using the things that we have, or the tools like vehicles, say for example, even a place where we can go, we can take a 5-minute walk, which is beneficial for everyone, isn't it? Then as well, we are using vehicles. This sort of habits we are surrounding us. Then when it comes to particularly Indian culture in our country, right, cycling is considered to either be a poor man's ride, or someone who is been recommended by the doctor. So this is the second group, right, who is cycling. So this is how we see a bicycle. Rather than we can use bicycle, more and more bicycles can be used for short distance commuting. And nowadays we have all different types of bicycles available that you can use even for going for 10-15 kilometers. You won't feel that much tired. We have all this sort of gears and electric mechanical bicycle and things like that. So it is, I think it is more about behavior. We have confined ourselves in a very typical way of living, and this is not only applicable to our society. There are many other places around the world. There are many countries in which they are using cars, right? Lots and lots, rather than motorcycles, they are using too much of cars, and one person going in a 6-seater or 8-seater is definitely a waste of space in terms of vehicle. So these are the things that are going on around us, and rather than blaming just one government or any current central government or Delhi government, this is not done by any one particular government. It is done every one of us, right, are equally culpable. We are culprit of adding pollution, right? Media and middle and upper classes and everyone is to be blamed for this sort of air quality that we are having. The other thing is that PM 2.5 is been talked about here, so I thought let me explain you why it is dangerous. See, this is the size of human hair, right? And PM 2.5 is very tiny when you compare it with our human hair. So basically the filters that we have in our nostrils, it can clearly bypass all those filters, and it can enter into our lungs. It can stay there, and then we can have all these lungs related diseases. The other thing is the matter of worry is that in recent weeks, PM 2.5 was 22 times that of WHO standard. Back in November, it was somewhere around 15 times or something in terms of, again, WHO standard. And other cities of our country are doing bit slightly good than Delhi, but when you compare them, then they are not that good. We have talked about this thing that if you see early morning this weather forecast that you find in many different news channels, then you will be surprised or shocked to know that very hardly we find major cities are providing or are giving us clean air to breathe, right? And it's not only Delhi. There are other cities that are doing they are performing even worse than what Delhi is doing. But because Delhi is a national capital, you find it on the news. So these are the things. The other thing is we have all these gases which are colorless and odorless, and many times you find this sort of questions in your MCQs as well, that which are the gases which are part of this pollution. So remember, carbon monoxide, oxides of sulfur X, as well as oxides of nitrogen, ozone, is protective gas when it is there in this stratosphere, but when it is there at ground level, then it is a dangerous gas. Then you have other volatile organic compounds. Now when it comes to monitoring, we don't have those sort of different gadgets that are required. We don't have, when I say, I mean to say that we don't have it in every cities of our country. So it is not possible for us to know exactly which type of gas is in how much quantity in our air. And we also know this thing that with rising economic growth and population, more and more pollution will be added, or we will find more polluted air. And interesting thing about pollution is that it impacts, right? It does not differentiate, it does not discriminate between rich and poor. You might be arguing that many rich people can have air filters, but they cannot air filters, they cannot filter this ozone gas. So anyways, everyone is going to get affected by this air pollution. With water pollution, you can buy water, you can purchase mineral water and things like that, but with air pollution there is no way out. So in one way it is unifying everyone together, but just focusing on technology is not going to help us. We have to focus on non-technological elements as well. As we have discussed already, we have to change the way we live. We have to rethink urban planning. We have to use more and more cycling and walking and public transport and things like that. We have to get on board every stakeholders, right? Everyone can provide their inputs, and we can select the best thing that is possible and practically possible for our cities. And we should also learn from best practices that are going on in Europe, Americas and South Asian cities. They have Southeast Asian cities, I mean to say, and they have even in fact proven that this is possible, right? So ignoring this thing is of course criminal as well as not ethical, because it is taking away lakhs and lakhs of lives in our country. With this, dear friends, we reach to news item. 5 times MLA Jairam Thakur is going to be Chief Minister of Himachal Pradesh. Then Law Minister has written to High Courts. The centre has asked High Courts to set up a mechanism to fast track the process of maintenance that is allotted by, or that is been decided by the courts to a woman. During the times of divorce, some sort of money is to be given to a woman if she used to be a housewife, and if she is looking after the children. So many times we find that the courts, they do decide, say for example 2,000 per month, but the people are not paying it. So this is something against women's rights. So Law Minister has written to, and the High Courts have decided to take some sort of action on this thing. Kashmiri separatists are crying foul. They are saying that centre is intimidating them to hold talks with its special representative Mr. Sharma. This is, you know it very well how they behave, right? So far Hurriyat leaders have not taken part in dialogue, and we also know that the things that they do in our country, isn't it? Dinakaran wins Jaya's seat. This is a new twist in Tamil Nadu's politics. This is what happens when you have a person-centric political party. After Jayalalitha, we have seen consistently things are taking new shapes, and new twists and turns are taking place in Tamil Nadu's politics. So now Dinakaran has won a seat, and so let's see how it is going to turn out. With this, new sanctions are an act of war has been declared by North Korea. North Korea is saying that if you apply new sanction on us, then we will consider it as an act of war, and then you have to pay for it and things like that. These sanctions are applied after its intercontinental ballistic missile, and we need sanctions, but sanctions have not been that successful. If you see, or if you go through all the sanctions that are applied on different parts of the world, of course if you don't apply sanctions, then they can freely trade with someone else, and they can purchase, they can grow economically, and they can produce more and more of weapons. But we have to also understand that it cannot completely stop, right, things, and the way things are going on around the world, it would be very difficult for us to convince North Korea, for the world to convince North Korea to come to a table and discuss things. Mercedes-Benz has said that we should not rush with the all electric vehicles, because there are other options available as well. And when it comes to technology, when it comes to science, then we should have an open mind. Let us understand what this Mercedes-Benz is trying to say. It is saying that by 2014 the whole world will be driving home hydrogen cars as well. So if we are just focusing on electricity, then this is not going to be viable. We have to keep our options open. And last item that we have is a spider in Australia has been named after a reggae singer, reggae legend Bob Marley. Right, so this is very interesting. With this, dear friends, these are your answers: Greeks, cicadas and cushions, and coniferous trees. And the picture was of Maldives beach. Here you have questions. Partition of Bengal came into effect on 15th August 1905, 15th September 1905, 16th October 1905, or 15th November 1905. What is incorrect about Buland Darwaza, built by Akbar in 1602, built in Fatehpur Sikri, built to commemorate Akbar's victory on Mewar and Gujarat? And last one is all are correct. With this, dear friends, enjoy your Christmas. May God bless you all, and don't forget to check out StudyIQ.com for up to 40% discount. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Many more interesting videos available on our YouTube channel, so make sure you check it out and don't miss any of the videos that we have on there for you to be utilized. I will share this file on my Facebook page as well as on our Telegram channel, and make sure you share it with other people as well. Enjoy your studies. I'll see you all soon. Till then, Jai Hind.